Okay, good morning. Hi. We're all just arriving. Okay, so today, as you know by the note, morning Hillary and Liz and Candace. I probably don't need to tell you all that arthritis is one of the, it's not popular, it's one of the most frequent musculoskeletal afflictions. There are different kinds of arthritis. Osteo is the one that is usually due to wear and tear, aging. And this is why, I don't know, I've always inherently known that it's great to exercise, but if we overdo it, we wear and out, we ruin, I think, shorten the lifespan of the function of our joints. That's all. So I get there are professional athletes and people who really get off on doing things, and it's wonderful. So that's when I think those people have to really pay attention to stretching and strengthening the muscles that work with the joints. Now, the interesting thing is that when we have pain, we don't feel like working out, we don't want to do anything, but that is a problem because the less we work out, the more the muscles shorten, which means there's less space between the joints, and there's more friction, and there's more pain, there's loss of mobility, blah, blah, blah. So yoga is perfect because it's a low impact form of exercise. I always tell you, and any other yoga teacher will tell you, this is about being aware of your body. This is about paying attention to the limitations that you have today. Tomorrow could be different. In fact, I love what Deepak Chopra says. When he used to come to Toronto, and he would come, I think he came a couple of years in a row, am I right about that, Hill? And that he would say at Massey Hall, he'd stand on the stage and he'd say, I'm not here with the same body that I came with last year. So even as I've been yapping away here, a whole bunch of cells have died and new ones are born. Now, if we do something different, then we get better and different cells. So the other thing that I will mention just quickly is that rather than tell you what you shouldn't eat, but I will, it's more about what we should eat. So an anti-inflammatory diet, because all itises are inflammation, every one of them. Bursitis, arthritis, if it says itis, it's inflammation. So diet is really important when it comes to things like arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis, on the other hand, is an autoimmune. By the way, osteo affects your bigger joints, typically your knees and your hips, so we are going to be working on that today. But with rheumatoid arthritis, it affects usually the smaller joints, the fingers, the feet, sometimes the knees too. But we can do a lot to mitigate. Obviously, being proactive is important. Some of it could be kind of hereditary, but I don't like to think about inheriting stuff from my parents. My mother had cancer, my dad had dementia. I mean, maybe I should shoot myself now, but I don't think so because I'm not them. I live a different life. Something's gonna get me, I don't know what. But right now, I'm dodging all the bullets, and that's what I want for you too. Okay, so let's just start warming up perhaps in cat and cow. So come on onto all fours, and if you're having pain in the wrist joints, you have some options. You can come onto your knuckles, comme ça, like that. You can take your hands further forward, and you can also put your hands on a block so you're not even that far down, and then just let your wrists hang over your hands hang over the block. But if you're fine here, place your hands underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips. And on an exhale, round your spine, drop your tail, tuck your chin, pull your bellies in. Remember to press all your fingers into the mat. On an inhale, curl your toes under, Slowly hollow out your lower back as you gently lift your tail, lengthen through your neck. And flatten the tops of your feet as you exhale, round your spine. Pull your bellies in as you tuck your chin and drop your tail. Really feel your abs engage. Curl your toes under, hollow out your lower back, lifting your tail, lengthening through your neck, head up, eyes towards your third eye, Ajna Chakra. Exhale, round your spine. Pull your bellies in, tuck your chin. And last time, curl the toes under as you inhale. Hollow out your lower back. And come into neutral. And extend your right leg straight out behind you and lengthen your left arm straight out in front of you. Breathing. Now you're going to feel your glutes, your hamstrings, your quadriceps. All of these muscles are the muscles that we need to focus on in the leg in order to support the knee joint. Reaching and stretching, so you're feeling your butt. It's your gluteus medius. It doesn't matter, there's 3 glutes, but it's the medius doing the work here. And releasing. And inhale, extend the opposite arm and leg. So we're going to hold just a bit here so you get a chance to feel your hams engaging, your hamstrings, the fronts of your thighs or your quadriceps. So you're extending through the hips. Often people with hip arthritis, by strengthening the hips, which this is doing as well, it reduces the pressure on the knee joint. Everything's connected. Let's face it, if there's a weakness somewhere, it's going to affect another area, not just the one where the weakness is. And releasing. Poof. Okay, notice when you hold that a little bit longer, it almost becomes aerobic. All right, so spread your knees the width of the mat. Now, if you have knee issues and you're not able to bend them below 90 degrees, you know you're going to do your melting heart, your puppy pose. But if you don't have knee issues, take the knees as wide as your mat. Bring your big toes together, flatten the tops of your feet, and slowly take your time to avoid cramping in your feet. Bringing your buttocks towards your heels. That's the first thing, and then release. It's modified child's pose, but kind of looks like frog pose, but that's different again. And then releasing your torso between your thighs. Perhaps your forehead is comfortable on the mat, and if not, add height by making a pillow, crossing your forearms over top of one another, or stacking your fists. And just breathe here into your side and back ribs. Another deep breath. And that will do. And press up. Curl the toes under. Lift your hips up. Come on into a soft downward facing dog. And keep the knees soft. Let's straighten the left leg. Bending the right. So feel that stretch in the back of your leg. And changing, so we're still just gently warming up. Let your head float between your arms, no tension in the neck area. Let's change again, straightening one leg, bending the other, feeling the stretch in the back of your knee. and changing. Swimming, of course, also a great low impact activity. As opposed to, racket sports and running, those are high impact and typically not a good idea for people who have sore joints. Okay, and then bring your hands towards your feet. Keep your knees soft. Let your torso, your neck, and your head hang. And then slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. Keep your chin tucked into your chest and let your head be the last thing to come up. And then inhale, roll the shoulders up. Exhale, bring them back. And let's bring our toes a little closer together, but still the outsides of your feet are parallel with the outsides of your mat. Lift your toes off the floor. Feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and the center front of your heel. And as I said, for those of you who weren't here as early, it's really a great idea this time of year to be focusing and conscious and aware of how we're walking because of the precariousness of weather. So lay your toes back down. You want to feel your big toe, your heel, then the sole of your foot, then the ball of the foot, and then the toe when you're walking. So this is the one takeaway this week I'd really like you to think about it, is when you walk, heel, foot, ball, toe. Heel, foot, ball, toe, okay? I'll maybe remind you at the end of the class. Meanwhile, feeling fully rooted and grounded through the soles of your feet, inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, interlock the fingers. Now turn the palms up, reaching up and stretching up. Now, notice at this point how we're lifting out of our hips. So when you're doing the dishes or just standing around in the bathroom, combing your hair, whatever you're doing, notice this feeling of having your lifting out of your hips. All right, turn your hands so your knuckles are pointing up, and then release your pointer fingers. So you've got the little church steeple, and then bring your arms right beside your ears. So straighten your arms as much as you're able to. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Inhale, lifting up, stretching up. Exhale, let's bend to the left. Now don't lose any height, so don't bend too far. Bending, stretching. Inhale, up. Exhale, other side. You don't need to go too far. You want to keep your top shoulder stacked over your bottom shoulder, so don't let that front shoulder come forward. Inhale, reaching up. Let your head fall back. You might have heard a little crack. I just did. Just calcium deposits. And then bring your arms right beside your ears. So you're stretching the front of your spine here, but you're pressing your hips forward. Release your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Fingertips touch the floor. Bend your knees if you need to. And then everyone bend their knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Bring your palms together. Exhale into prayer. Okay, give the legs a good shake out. We're going to start with extended side angle pose. So this is strengthening our hamstrings, which again, when the hamstrings are strengthened, there's less pressure on the knees. So by strengthening all of these muscles, we create space in the knee joint, so there's less friction and less weight on the knee. And by the way, every 10 pounds overweight exerts 30 pounds for every step we take. Every step you take. So, and listen, I get how losing weight is, difficult. For some of us, not all of us. Some people can eat whatever they want and nothing happens. Okay, so side angle pose. This is to strengthen our hamstrings. So we're going to start in Warrior 2. So step your right leg back, one leg length. And if your socks have stickiness, great. If not, okay. So in Warrior 2, make sure your heel creates a straight line through the arch of your back foot, and your back foot's just slightly forward. So Sherry, bring your heel so it creates a straight line, and Liz, through the arch of your back foot, like a straight line that goes in line with your mat. All right, now bend your front knee, and isometrically think about pulling that knee back towards, even though you want it lining up with your heel, but think, really focus on this area here. Also too, the stretch in the back leg, your IT band plays an important part. Make sure this isn't, if your front knee collapses in, you lose all the benefits that you're going to get. Now lift up out of your waist, lift up out of your waist. Inhale, sweep the arms sideways, front and back. Fix your gaze over your middle fingertips. Remember to press into the outside of your back foot. There's a lot going on in every single pose. Today we're focusing on lengthening and strengthening the muscles that will reduce pain in arthritis. But last week we talked about lifting the arches, and when you press into the outside of your either foot, you're going to be lifting your arches, and that also helps support healthy knees. Now, bring your front forearm onto your front thigh. Take your back arm down, around, in front, and then windmill your torso so you open your chest to the side and reach your arm overhead. So you're isometrically pulling that front knee back into its hip socket. So you can really feel the strengthening going on here. Breathing, energy through the fingertips. 2 more breaths. Inhale, stretch and lengthen, press into the outside of your back foot. Exhale, settle. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Let's come back into Warrior 2. And then let's come into our exalted, peaceful warriors, lifting your top arm up, reaching up again, stretching up. You're lifting up out of your waist. Your energy is going up. And back into Warrior, and bring your legs together and give your legs a good shake out. Okay, let's start in Warrior 2 on the other side. Step your leg back. Again, 1 leg length if you don't have a good width. Now, if you have sore knees, of course, it might be better to shorten that length, but your space between makes the pose work much better. Okay, make sure when you bend that front knee, your torso stays right over the center, your pelvis is centered, and you can see your big toe inside of your knee. If your knee is lining up with your big toe, you've lost it, all right? So make sure you see your big toe inside your knee. Isometrically pull your thigh back in towards your hip. Press into the outside of that back foot. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, relax your shoulders. Now, be sure to engage your abs here too. Protect your lower back. Breathing. And then lower your front forearm onto your front thigh. And then take your back arm down, around. As you take it over your ear, you're opening your torso to the side of your mat. And you're reaching with those top fingers. Your palm is facing down. This is where your knee wants to collapse. Don't let it get lazy. Keep that isometric pull. Strengthening hips. Reaching, stretching. One more breath in to reach. And let's come back into warrior two, and then lower your back arm down your back leg and reach up with your top arm, reaching, stretching. Make sure that front knee is not collapsing in. Keep pulling those muscles into your hip joint. And coming back into warrior and releasing your legs and give them a good shake out. Okay. Warrior one. So this is going to strengthen our quads. So, coming up to the front of your mat, step your right leg back. This time, you're going to separate your feet, and your back foot's going to be about 60 degrees forward, and your back foot, and your front foot, of course, is 90 degrees. So, Kelly, point your back foot a little bit further forward. Yeah. So now you can totally square your torso with the front of your mat. Now, this is where, if you're experiencing a lot of knee pain, you may want your knee to be a little bit closer, but you still want knee directly over ankle. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Again, pull your bellies in, drop your tailbone. It may be just a thought or an idea, because truly, how the hell do you drop your tailbone? Keep your shoulders relaxed, pressing into the heel of the back foot. So we're working the quads, quadricep muscles in the front thigh. We're activating the hamstrings, stretching them in the back, as well as the quadriceps in the back leg. One more breath in. And then bring your hands to the floor, framing them around that front foot. Take it back. Walk your dog slowly. Relax your neck. Let your head hang. Feel the stretch in the Achilles tendon. This is something that if we injure it, there is nothing that can be done. It's kind of like arthritis. There is no medicine for arthritis other than painkillers, and there's no surgery for Achilles tendon, so it's always great to make sure they're stretched. Okay, step your right foot between your hands. Separate your feet so you've got space between your heels. Your front leg is bent and your back leg is straight. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Coming into warrior one on the other side. Shoulders down, pull your abs in. You can either be gazing forward or you can be looking up between your hands. And one more breath in. And bring your hands to the floor. Take that right leg back and come on down onto your knees. So we're going to do next Vashisthasana, but on our forearms. So Vashisthasana is, hang on a second here, I'm just looking, ta-da. Okay, side plank, yeah. So this again, the best way to activate gluteus medius, which is a primary hip adductor. So when we have hip adductor weakness, it's common that we will also experience hip knee arthritis. So this is really important for strengthening and avoiding, if not mitigating, some of the pain that might be common in hip and knee. So we're coming on to, and I want to do this right, so I'm going to go this way first. So we're going to come on to our forearms. And then I'm going to take my right forearm and point the fingers towards the left arm. And then I'm going to stack my, well, don't stack your feet, separate them. If you find it's too difficult for you to hold this posture, then you can drop your bottom knee on the floor. Otherwise, lift your top arm up and lift your hips. This engages your core, but this is strengthening the gluteus medius, which is the major hip adductor muscle, even though you're probably saying, no, I'm working my core, my shoulders. And come on down for a moment. Yeah, big work. Bring your arms beside your body. Turn your head to the right. Big toes touch. Heels splay out, shoulders melt. Bring your head back to the center. Arms beside your body with your palms facing up. Point your toes away from you. Roll an invisible alley with your nose. Inhale as you press your hips and pelvis into the floor. Lift your head, neck, shoulders, arms, and legs off the floor. So again, strengthening those hamstrings. Strengthening the glutes, your major hip adductors. One more breath in, and all the way down. Okay, let's see what happens on the left side. So once again, you're coming into forearm plank. You're going to take your left hand over towards the right, and then you're going to roll over onto your left side. And you're going to lift. Now you can stack your feet, you can separate your feet, or you can lower that, or you can separate your feet and lift your top arm up. So make sure you don't let your core sink here. Lift your hips up, lift up, lift up. One more breath in. Great work, everybody. And come on all the way down. Now turn your head to the left. Big toes touch, heels splay out, shoulders melt. So when it comes to supplements, turmeric is number one when it comes to joint health. And I say supplements because I don't think you can eat enough turmeric to make the difference. So that's number one for reducing inflammation. Inflammation is synonymous with itis, any itis. Bring your head to the center. And I guess glucosamine sulfite is another one. Always speaking to somebody in a store that knows what, that sells the products is always a great idea because they talk to lots of people. Reach your toes away from you. Your palms are facing up, shoulders reaching away from your ears. Roll an invisible alley with your nose until you're looking straight down at your mat. Inhale, press hips and pelvis into the floor as you lift your head, neck, shoulders, arms, and legs off the floor. Strengthening the hams, strengthening the glutes, strengthening the heart. One more breath in. And come on all the way down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up onto your knees and come on over onto your backs for bridge pose. So bridge, we do it frequently, but when it comes to arthritis in the hips and the knees, this is excellent for strengthening the hip extensors. You're going to bend the legs, place the soles of the feet on the floor. This also strengthens your knee flexors, core and hip flexors. So lots going on here. And again, as I say, the more we strengthen our hips, the less force, pressure on our knees. So with your heels lining up with your sits bones, your arms beside your body and your palms facing down. Tuck your shoulders underneath your heart. Try to keep your neck in neutral so that there's a little bit of space. You're honoring the curve of the cervical spine. And then press the small of your back into the floor. Peel your spine off the floor. Lift your hips up. So even though this is one of the easier asanas, Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose, as I mentioned, it is strengthening knee flexors, hip flexors, hamstrings, lots going on in this posture. So press up a little bit higher. Try to bring your shoulders towards the midline or bring your shoulder blades together to kiss. Breathe. One more breath in. And starting from the top of your spine, slowly bring your torso back down onto the floor. Create some space under the lower back by tipping your tailbone towards your mat, and then reverse that by lifting your tailbone off the floor, pressing the small of your back into the floor. Peel your spine off the floor. Keeping your neck neutral. You may need to stretch your head towards the top of your mat. Let's bring arms underneath the body now. This is where we can really bring the shoulders and shoulder blades in towards one another. You may feel like walking your heels, your feet, a little bit closer to your sits bones. And then make sure your feet are closer together than further apart. And then let's lift the right leg up into the air. Now you can really feel this working on the left hip, especially the outer thigh, the IT band. And release. Other one coming up. Notice here which one may be weaker or stronger. And release. Release your hands and slowly bring your torso back down onto the mat. Draw your knees up in towards your chest. Place a hand on each one. You can make big circles on your back or rock from side to side. Okay, let's keep the knees bent. Place the soles of the feet on the floor. Once again, bring your arms beside your body with your palms facing down. Tuck your shoulder blades under your heart center. Reach the crown of your head towards the top of your mat. Really ground through the soles of your feet, pressing them into the floor, and then slowly, once again, press the small of your back into the floor. Peel your spine off the floor, strengthening all the muscles of your hip. Once again, let's lift the right leg up. Notice the strength in your left hip. Reaching your right toes up and back down, staying in bridge. Now lift the other leg up. Again, notice the strength. Is one side weaker or stronger? Just notice, just to be aware. It's typical for one side of the body to be different from the other. We favor one. We may have injured ourselves. And then release that foot down and bring it all back down. Once again, draw the knees up in towards the hip and rocking from side to side. Place the feet, keeping the knees bent, on the edges of your mat. So knees are bent, feet are on the edges of your mat. Take your arms out to the side, shoulder height. Inhale, in place. Exhale, release both knees over to the left. And turn your head to the right. So now we're stretching some of the muscles that we were strengthening. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, both knees over to the other side. Feel that stretch through the hip area. Obviously, it's stretching the obliques as well, the muscles that wrap around the side of your torso, the lower part of your torso. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, one more time to the left, and then lift your left foot and place it on top of your right knee. Don't do too much, don't do too little. Find the middle ground. No pain, no gain does not apply to yoga. If you ever feel any pain when you're practicing, that's your body saying, back off. But breathe into the area that's being stretched. Be aware. Practice mindfully. Whenever we're doing anything, it's a great little habit to just be doing what we're doing. You're not going to be that way 24 hours, never. But if you're washing dishes, just be washing dishes. If you're eating your food, try to be very mindful of the texture, of the taste, of chewing, swallowing, and then release that foot. Now slowly, please slowly come back to center. It's a big stretch on the outside of your thigh. And then release both knees. Your feet are still on the edges of your mat. Both knees over to the right. You're lifting your right foot up and you're placing that foot on the outside of your left knee. And just breathe now into your left hip. And releasing, and come back into the center. And once again, draw your knees into your chest, extend your left leg down in front. Attempt to straighten your right leg, reaching up towards your ankle. So your knee won't be completely straight, but we're going to do some stretching of that hamstring, inhaling in place. Exhale, pull the leg towards you as you lift your head, neck, shoulder. Often we start, and I try to remember to start things on the right side first, so that when we're pressing into the colon area, we start with the ascending colon, which is on the right side. And as I've said many times, you may notice a change in your bowel movements after yoga class because you have pressed and increased the opportunity for the body to release waste. And release your head, neck, and shoulders back onto the floor. Release your leg, lengthen it, and slowly lower it all the way down. So your hip flexors are at work when you're lowering your legs slowly down. The hip flexors right at the front of the thigh between the leg and the bottom of your torso. And of course, you're activating your quadriceps as well. And then inhale in place, exhale, draw the left knee up and interlock the fingers 2 inches below, pulling down, pressing into the descending colon, and then extend your left leg up without locking the knee. You're gonna have a bend in the knee. Interlock your fingers as close to the ankle, taking hold of wherever you can on the calf. Keeping your shoulder blades on the mat. Inhale in place, exhale, pull that leg towards you as you lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. So I've seen the same colonic irrigationist for, I don't know, decades, Mary Kay Paris. And I don't see her often, but every once in a while if I feel the need. Basically, it's felt that most people have about 12 to 15 pounds of impacted waste hanging around in their colon somewhere. It could be in the transverse, but even she says after colonoscopy, which we feel probably really cleans us out. I've had a couple of them. She said there's always still some stuff in there sometimes, junk left over. And if you ever want, if you're ever interested in it, it's just an inside cleaning that's gentle and I think very effective if it speaks to you. And then lower your head, release your hands around your leg, bring your arms beside your body and slowly lower that leg all the way back down. But take your time. So you activate your hip flexors, you activate your quads. Get your money's worth. And then take a moment, again, to lift your shoulders underneath your heart center. Bring your arms by your side with your palms facing up. Bring your legs together. Let your feet splay out. And this is an opportunity, and it's really important, especially with people that have arthritis or high stress levels. The benefits of well, first of all, we reduce our stress when we stop and drop and let go. So that's number one, because stress also creates inflammation. It raises cortisol levels in the body, which are inflammatory when they're too high. And I like to say stress is like, or worry, is like sitting in a rocking chair. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. So you're doing something, but it's not getting you anywhere. When you worry, it just raises those inflammatory hormones, which can be the precursor to different itises. But the other thing is that being still for a moment in Shavasana allows the body to absorb the benefits of what we are doing. It's important. Now, I know most people don't mind lying around, but there are some people that get really antsy, and those people should perhaps take a look at, well, why am I so antsy? What's the matter with lying around? Okay, that's enough though. So Bring your knees up in towards your chest. You can place your hands underneath the backs of your thighs. If you prefer to come over, roll over onto your side to come up, that's fine too. So if not, rock up, and we're going to come into gate pose, Parigrasana. This is where you may wish to have a block, and I'll just grab one so that I can demo this. Good, and nobody's getting blasted with the sun. It sure changed. I guess if you were standing up, you might be getting it down there. Okay, so in gate pose, we start on our knees, and you're going to be sideways on your mat. So this is going to activate your hip adductors in the kneeling leg. So let's start. Maybe I can do this, the mirror image. So let's start with the right leg out to the side. So the hip adductors are activated in the kneeling leg, and you want to keep isometrically pulling your bent left leg into the center, okay? So it's not just hanging out, isometrically push it in. And then take the right leg out to the side. This is where you may wish to have a block rather than putting your hands right on the floor. You may wish to have a block. And then press your hips forward so your butt doesn't go back. All right? So this is where, as I say, you may wish to have the block. You're going to inhale your top right arm up and over. So isometrically, you are pressing your bent leg into the center, and you're lengthening your straight leg. So you may wish to even lower the block at some point. You're reaching, stretching. And then now you may wish to remove the block, because I want you to try and lift that straight leg off the floor. So we're stretching and strengthening here. You can feel this. Reaching the arm over. And back down. And then stretch the arms up once again, reaching up. Exhale over the straight leg sideways. So just releasing and reversing, and then reaching your top arm over. So your bottom arm is on your leg. Reaching, maybe you can scooch that lower hand down your leg a little bit for your last stretch. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, all the way back. Now remember, if you need to, double your mat over for extra cushioning on the knee. So extend the opposite leg out to the other side. And your toes are going to point forward on that straight leg. So, or sideways, I guess, but it's really forward, it's flexed. So, remember, isometrically, press the bent thigh in towards the midline. You're going to feel all these muscles really activating here. And now place your hand on your block at whatever height you need. Inhale, left arm up, reaching up and over. Keep pressing the bent leg into the midline. Good deep inhaling and exhaling, reaching and stretching. That's our minister, Catherine. She wishes she was here, but they have prayer meetings on Wednesdays. We believe in prayer. Okay, let's remove the block, place the fingertips on the floor, and lift that straight leg up. So you're probably going to need to move the hand forward so you can really lift that leg up. Reaching, stretching. Are we having fun? Oh, yeah. Okay, kids. Nice. Curl your toes under. Roll back onto the soles of your feet. Keep your knees bent. Let your chest rest on your thighs. And then slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. Keep your chin tucked into your chest. Your head will be the last thing. So we haven't really done any new poses, but what we're doing is focusing a different, taking a different focus. So that's why I'm looking at all these notes here, because we've done tree pose before, and that's what we're going to do now. But again, it helps with knee extension and mobility, strengthens the knees, the hip adductor, and strengthened core. All these things are important for walking and protecting the knees. Okay, so in tree pose, let's try to balance first perhaps on our right leg. So bring your weight onto, and I'm going to do the mirror image again. So you're bringing your weight onto your right foot. Now, lift that left knee up. Focus your gaze. Now, can you take hold of the ankle and bend the knee so that now you are stretching your hamstring? So focus your gaze, look at the floor, and then release that leg down. Let's bring the weight onto the other leg. We're working our way up to tree, Vrikshasana. But focus your gaze. Look somewhere 8 to 10 feet on the floor and wait for your own inner cue. If you don't feel like you've got it, just hang in, wait. Patience, great virtue. And wherever you are in a pose, you're getting exactly what you need. So don't even think about, oh, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Ugh. It's not about that. You're working all kinds of tiny little muscles when you're wobbling. All those little muscles, remember, in your feet, 33 joints in each foot, 26 bones, and over 100 muscles, ligaments, and tendons. They're all getting lots of love. Okay, shake it out. Now we'll go for it. You ready? Yes. Yes. How about you guys at home? You ready? Let's go. Okay, so you're putting all your weight onto your, and if you feel like using a wall, go for it, or a chair, it's all fine. Putting all your weight on your right foot. Now, this might feel like all you want to do. You're going to turn your knee out, and you may just wish to place the foot on the calf. Whatever you do, don't press against the knee. We've been working on that all morning. You never press against the knee. If I look at one more picture of a person pressing on their knee in a magazine, I'm going to write them a letter. Okay, if you're able to, pull that foot right up into your groin. Now, you may need to hang on to your foot if your pants are slippery. You may, and now you're going to press the foot into the thigh, and you're going to press the thigh into the foot. And open your branches. Or not, you can keep them in prayer. Okay. By the way, I guess temperature's okay in here. We're just getting heated up. Okay, so let's see what we can do on the other side. So once again, you can start here. You can even just keep your toes on the floor, because some days balance is just doesn't happen. Don't know why. Planets. If I ever find any great yoga socks, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of them so we can get this done. Okay, good work, everybody. Release, step your legs wide apart. Actually, before we do that, one other thing I want to do, and you do need a wall. You do need a wall. You're going to be about two paces away from the wall. Okay, so find a spot somewhere up against, because you don't need to put your foot on the wall, you just need to be 2 paces away from the wall, 2 paces, so about 2 feet. And then step your left foot forward and bring your torso into the wall, and then you're gonna, and keep your back leg straight. You've got 2 muscles in your calves. One's the gastrocnemius, the other's the soleus. With your legs straight, with your back leg straight and your front leg bent, I'm going to turn towards the camera here, but you want to lean your body into that wall. You're stretching your gastrocnemius. Now, this also plays an important role in knee health. But if you have that pressure, okay, now, bend that back knee just a little bit. Keep the heel on the floor, bend the back knee. Now we move the pressure, the stretch into the soleus muscle. So there are 2, as I say, 2 big muscles in the back of your calf. Alrighty? And give that a shake out. You felt that? Yeah. Okay, so let's try the other one. So you're 2 paces away from the wall. So about 2 feet, and then step the opposite forward, foot forward, bend that knee, keep the heel of the back foot on the floor, and lean your body towards whatever you're pressing on. Breathe into that stretch, feel it. So the gastrocnemius muscle is closer to the midline. That should be where you're feeling this stretch. And then bend the knee. And now you notice the stretch moves out to the outside of your calf, the soleus muscle. You don't notice? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Come on back onto your mats and turn sideways, spreading your feet as wide as you can, with the toes just slightly turned out. Raise the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, forward fold, just halfway, tabletop your back, tented fingertips on the floor. Let's inhale and sweep the right arm up, reaching up, stretching up, and looking up. Feel that inner thigh adductor muscle stretching. You feel your inner thigh? Exhale, float it down. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reaching up, stretching up, looking up. Your eyes don't have to be open. Feel that stretch through your core. Exhale, float it down. Let's lunge over to the right side, bringing bum close to heel. Hopefully your knees are feeling a little happier at this point, and your hips are feeling loose and open. And then come on over, lunging to the other side. Remember, hips are these junk drawers where we shove emotions and stuff that we may not be able to process in the moment when it's happening, but know that you're releasing all kinds of stuff. And then walk your feet in towards one another. And if you need to put any socks on or anything at all, bring yourself down to the floor. You know, if you're able to find a piece of like a scarf or a mitten or something, and just to cover your eyes, because it's light out right now, it'd be great for your relaxation. Feel good about your efforts, please. And then bringing your body into this pose of Shavasana, where we absorb the stress and tension reducing benefits of a good practice. Even though we worked and we stressed parts of the body, this is the chance now to allow the benefits of releasing any residual stress or tension and to absorb the benefits of our performance. Deep relaxation is highly beneficial for everyone. We should never skip it. In fact, anytime we're feeling a little out of sorts or overwhelmed, one of the best ways to ground yourself is to lie on the ground. So obviously that this time of year is more likely to be the floor, but feeling grounded, feeling centered, allowing the body to restore, heal, and balance itself. And remember, one of the greatest benefits of exercise is that you're producing endorphins, and endorphins are one of the greatest painkillers. There's a whole pharmacy of drugs that we are able to produce right inside of our own bodies. We should take advantage of it. And I would say this morning, we've done well. And last but not least, a quote from Arianna Huffington: "Living in a state of gratitude is the gateway to grace." Practicing gratitude. What if we woke up tomorrow with only what we thanked God for today? We have so much to be grateful for. The fact that we are all mobile enough to practice, physically come to a class, or be practicing at home with that kind of discipline, acknowledge yourself for that. It's nice to get compliments and spiritual bonbons from other people, but it's when we honor, acknowledge ourselves that we develop a kind of self-respect and a self-reliance so that we are not dependent upon getting compliments from other people. Because we know who we are and we're activating our potential to be the best we can in this moment and each moment. Inhaling the life force, long, full, and deep. Deep exhaling. Long, full, deep inhaling and deep exhaling. Stretch your arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch. Point feet far. Flex and point. And drop your arms down by your side. Take your time when you're ready to roll over onto your side, even spending a moment or two, if you wish, in a semi-fetal position. Thank you so much for coming out to share your practice today. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.